Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. This is your host, Thomas Sandor Townsend, licensed massage therapist and certified meditation instructor. Today we're going over chapter 13 in the book Mindfulness in Plain English by Bhante Gunaratana. And chapter 13 is entitled Mindfulness. Let's get into it. When this mindfulness is prolonged by using proper techniques, you find that this experience is profound and that it changes your entire view of the universe. This state of perception has to be learned, however, and it takes regular practice. Once you learn the technique, you will find that mindfulness has many interesting aspects. The characteristics of mindfulness. Mindfulness is mere thought. Mindfulness is non-judgmental observation. It is that ability of the mind to observe without criticism. With this ability, one sees things without condemnation or judgment. It is psychologically impossible for us to objectively observe what is going on within us if we do not, at the same time, accept the occurrence of our various states of mind. This is especially true with unpleasant states of mind. In order to observe our own fear, we must accept the fact that we are afraid. We can't examine our own depression without accepting it fully. The same is true for irritation and agitation, frustration, and all those other uncomfortable emotional states. You can't examine something fully if you're busy rejecting its existence. Whatever experience you may be having, mindfulness just accept it. It is simply another of life's occurrences, just another thing to be aware of. No pride, no shame, nothing personal at stake. What is there is there. Mindfulness is an impartial watchfulness. It does not take sides. It does not get hung up in what is perceived. It just perceives. Mindfulness does not get infatuated with the good mental states. It does not try to sidestep the bad mental states. There is no clinging to the pleasant, no fleeing from the unpleasant. Mindfulness treats all experiences equally, all thoughts equally, all feelings equally. Nothing is suppressed, nothing is repressed. Mindfulness does not play favorites. Mindfulness is non-conceptual awareness. Another English term for Sati is bare attention. It is not thinking. It does not get involved with thought or concepts. It does not get hung up on ideas or opinions or memories. It just looks. Mindfulness registers experiences, but it does not compare them. It does not label them or categorize them. It just observes everything as if it was occurring for the first time. It is not analysis that is based on reflection and memory. It is rather the direct and immediately experience of whatever is happening, without the medium of thought. It comes before thought in the perceptual process. Mindfulness is present moment awareness. It takes place in the here and now. It is the observance of what is happening right now in the present. It stays forever in the present, perpetually on the crest of the ongoing wave of passing time. If you're remembering your second grade teacher, that is memory. When you then become aware that you're remembering your second grade teacher, that is mindfulness. If you then conceptualize the process and say to yourself, oh, I'm remembering, that is thinking. Mindfulness is non-egotistic alertness. It takes place without reference to self. With mindfulness, one sees all phenomena without reference to concepts like me, my, or mine. For example, suppose there's a pain in your leg. Ordinarily, consciousness would say, I have a pain. Using mindfulness, one would simply note the sensation as a sensation. One would not tack on that extra concept, I. Mindfulness stops one from adding anything to perception or subtracting anything from it. One does not enhance anything. One does not emphasize anything. One just observes exactly what is there without distortion. Mindfulness is awareness of change. It is observing the passing flow of experience. It is watching things as they are changing. It is seeing the birth, growth, and maturity of all phenomena. It is watching phenomenon decay and die. Mindfulness is watching things moment by moment, continuously. It is observing all phenomena, mental, physical, or emotional, whatever is presently taking place in the mind. One just sits back and watches the show. Mindfulness is the observance of the basic nature of each passing phenomenon. It is watching the thing arising and passing away. It is seeing how that thing makes us feel and how we react to it. It is observing how it affects others. In mindfulness, one is an unbiased observer whose sole job is to keep track of the constantly passing show of the universe within. In mindfulness, one watches the universe within. The meditator who is developing mindfulness is not concerned with the external universe. It is there, but in meditation, one's field of study is one's own experience, one's thoughts, one's feelings, and one's perception. Mindfulness is participatory observation. The meditator is both participant and observer at one and the same time. Mindfulness is objective, but it is not cold or unfeeling. It is the wakeful experience of life and alert participation in the ongoing process of living. Mindfulness is extremely difficult to define in words, not because it is complex, but because it is too simple and open. The same problem crops up in every area of human experience. The most basic concept is always the most difficult to pin down. Mindfulness is a pre-symbolic function. You can play with word symbols all day long and you will never pin it down completely. We can never fully express what it is. However, we can say what it does. Three fundamental activities. There are three fundamental activities of mindfulness. We can use these activities as functional definitions of the term. A, mindfulness reminds us of what we are supposed to be doing. B, it sees things as they really are. And C, it sees the true nature of all phenomena. Let's examine these definitions in great detail. Mindfulness reminds you of what you're supposed to be doing. In meditation, you put your attention on one item. When your mind wanders from this focus, it is mindfulness that reminds you that your mind is wandering and what you're supposed to be doing. It is mindfulness that brings your mind back to the object of meditation. All of this occurs instantaneously and without internal dialogue. Mindfulness is not thinking. Mindfulness creates its own distinct feeling and consciousness. It has a flavor, a light, clear, energetic flavor. By comparison, conscious thought is heavy, ponderous, and picky. But here again, these are just words. Your own practice will show you the difference. Then you will probably come up with your own words, and the words used here will become superfluous. Remember, practice is the thing. Mindfulness sees things as they really are. Mindfulness adds nothing to perception, and it subtracts nothing. It distorts nothing. It is bare attention and just looks at whatever comes up. Conscious thought pastes things over our experience, loads us down with the concepts and ideas, immerses us in a churning vortex of plans and worries, fears, and fantasies. When mindful, you don't play that game. You just notice exactly what arises in the mind, then you notice the next thing. This, and now this. It is really very simple. Mindfulness sees the true nature of all phenomena. Mindfulness, and only mindfulness, can perceive that the three prime characteristics that Buddha teaches are the deepest truth of existence. In Pali, these three are called anicca, impermanence, dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, and anatta, selflessness, the absence of a permanent, unchanging entity that we call soul or self. Mindfulness is that method of investigation. Mindfulness alone has the power to reveal the deepest level of reality available to human observation. At this level of inspection, one sees the following. A, all conditioned things are inherently transitory. B, every worldly thing is, in the end, unsatisfying. And C, there are really no entities that are unchanging or permanent, only processes. Mindfulness works like an electron microscope. That is, it operates on a fine level that one can actually directly perceive those realities that are, at best, theoretical constructs of the conscious thought process. Mindfulness actually sees the impermanent character of every perception. It sees the transitory and passing nature of everything that is perceived. It also sees the inherently unsatisfactory nature of all conditioned things. It sees that there is no point grabbing onto any of these passing shows. Peace and happiness cannot be found that way. And finally, mindfulness sees the inherited selflessness of all phenomena. It sees the way that we have arbitrarily selected a certain bundle of perceptions, chopped them off from the rest of the surging flow of experience, and then conceptualized them as separate, enduring entities. Mindfulness actually sees these things. It does not think about them, it sees them directly. When it is fully developed, mindfulness sees these three attributes of existence directly, instantaneously, and without intervening medium of conscious thought. In fact, even the attributes that we just covered are inherently unified. They don't really exist as separate items. They are purely the result of our struggle to take this fundamentally simple process called mindfulness and express it in the cumbersome and inadequate thought symbol of the conscious level. Mindfulness is a process, but it does not take place in steps. It is a holistic process that occurs as a unit. You notice your lack of mindfulness, and that noticing itself is a result of mindfulness. And mindfulness is bare attention, and bare attention is noticing things exactly as they are without distortion. And the way they are is impermanent, unsatisfactory, and selfless. Mindfulness and insight meditation. Mindfulness is the center of Vipassana meditation and the key to the whole process. It is both the goal of this meditation and the means to that end. You reach mindfulness by being even more mindful. One who attends constantly to what is really going on in the mind achieves the state of ultimate sanity. The Pali term Sati also bears the connotation of remembering. It is not memory in the sense of ideas and pictures from the past, but rather clear, direct, wordless knowing of what is and what is not, of what is correct and what is incorrect, of what we are doing and how we should go about it. Mindfulness reminds meditators to apply their attention to the proper object at the proper time and to exert precisely the amount of energy needed to do that job. When this energy is properly applied, a meditator stays constantly in a state of calm and alertness. Once mindfulness has pushed these mental defilements aside, more wholesome states of mind can take their place. Hatred makes way for love and friendliness. Lust is replaced by detachment. It's mindfulness that notices this change too, and that reminds the Vipassana meditator to maintain that extra little mental sharpness needed to retain these more desirable states of mind. Mindfulness makes possible the growth of wisdom and compassion. Without mindfulness, they cannot develop to their full maturity. Deeply buried in the mind, there lies a mechanism that accepts what the mind experiences as beautiful and pleasant and rejects those experiences that are perceived as ugly and painful. This mechanism gives rise to the states of mind that we are training ourselves to avoid. Things like greed, lust, hatred, aversion, and jealousy. We choose to avoid these hindrances not because they are evil in the normal sense of the word, but because they are compulsive. Because they take the mind over and capture the attention completely, because they keep going round and round in tight little circles of thought, and because they seal us off from living reality. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoyed that. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Love, peace, be well.